Hey guys, December the 3rd, 2025, and I hope everybody's been having a wonderful day so far today. It's another gross day here in South Carolina, just overcast, chilly. It's been raining. Hasn't really rained, it's just been sprinkling all day today, but it's just another gross day. And on top of it, I have not felt well at all. I almost filmed today's video laying in my bed. I was really thinking about, should I just lay here and film or get up and come outside? And I just went ahead and got up and cleaned myself up and came out here. I did not want to do that, but I figured I could at least come out here and film a 10-minute long video today and knock that out and feel like I accomplished something other than just lay in the bed all day today, that's all I've done, is lay in my bed. I woke up this morning just feeling absolutely horrible. The fatigue has really started to set in the past couple of days, and the nausea has just been overwhelming. Completely overwhelming. To the point where, just trying to eat like a saltine cracker, I can barely even get that down. Sometimes you just feel so nauseous and you feel like you just need to get something in your stomach because you haven't been eating very much, and then you try to eat, and then it makes you even sicker when you do it. And that's kind of how I felt today. It's just anything I've tried to eat just really makes me feel nauseous. I have not been able to eat anything, but anyway, I don't want to keep carrying on about the fact that I don't feel well, but I caused all this to myself, although I do think I'm coming down with something, but, it's, the liver disease and the fatigue. It makes doing anything sometimes so hard. And for those of you out there that are watching this that are dealing with liver disease, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Some days it's almost impossible just to get up out of the bed and go to the bathroom. There's mornings where I'll lay there in the bed and I'll have to go to the bathroom so bad, but I just can't get myself to get up and go to the bathroom. I just feel so tired, and that's just the way I've felt today. But anyway, I don't want to keep carrying on about the fact that I don't feel well, and I'm not looking for sympathy or anything like that. I really just talk about this because, number one, I want people out there to know they're not alone when they feel, like garbage every single day because of liver disease, whatever type of liver disease you're dealing with. But not just that, I just want people to know that, how dangerous alcohol is and what it leads to, because it destroys your health. And once your health has been destroyed, it's destroyed. Sometimes there's coming back, if you end up with fatty liver or something like that, you can reverse it. But once you end up with cirrhosis, that's it. Unless you get a transplant, your liver is it's messed up. And, going through a transplant, you're talking about like a year-long process to deal with that. It's a lot to go through. It really, truly is. And, getting and staying sober today could greatly improve your chances of not ending up with a alcohol-related or alcohol-induced disease. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about today is problems. And the reason I thought about this today is just because, the fact that I'm not feeling well. And I'm not kidding. I'm being completely honest with you guys right now. As bad as I've felt today, and the fatigue and the nausea and everything that I've been going through, I've had a sore throat, been coughing, really runny nose and all that stuff. One of the things I've thought about today is going to the store and getting some alcohol. And the reason being is that, when I was in active addiction and anytime I was sick, I would drink and it would make me feel better, especially if I had a sore throat, was coughing a bunch of stuff up, hot toddies and things like that. They do make you feel better, and that's just honest to God truth. And, today I was really thinking about that, of, how when I used to drink, it used to make me feel better when I felt like this, and how much I really would like to have a drink. But I can't, there's just, I could, I mean, I absolutely could. There's nothing stopping me from going to the store and getting a bottle of liquor right now. There's nothing there. I mean, I can do whatever I want. I'm a free individual, but I know exactly where it's going to lead me. And like I said, I wanted to talk about problems today because problems are something that we all have in common. I mean, we all have problems in common. We all have problems throughout our life. And like I said, I wanted to talk about this today for any of you guys out there who are dealing with a problem and, you're thinking about having a drink, going to the store and buying a bottle or a case of beer or whatever it is that you enjoy drinking. You're thinking about that because you think it's going to help with whatever the problem is, or at least make you feel better dealing with it. And, I just wanted to say today that it's not going to fix a thing. It's not going to improve anything. I know that. Even though I was thinking about drinking earlier today and going to the store and picking up a bottle, even though I'm not going to do it, those thoughts enter my mind. And, I think about it. And sometimes it's hard to get that thought to go away. But I know exactly where it's going to lead me. I know exactly what path I'm going to go down if I go to the store and get a bottle. I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to end up, it's not going to be something where I'm like, I'm just going to have one or two drinks. I'm going to go to the liquor store and get some, what's that stuff called? I used to drink it all the time when I got sick. It was like a whiskey, and it came in a little pint bottle, and it had a lemon in it. I cannot remember what the name of that was. Every time I got sick, I would go to the store and buy that stuff. And that's what I was thinking about today. It's disgusting, but I'll tell you what, when I would be sick, I would drink that stuff and it would make me feel better. Like I said, I was thinking about that today. But I know exactly where it's going to lead me. I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm not going to have one hot toddy. I'm not going to have one glass of liquor and, start to feel a little bit better and, put it down. No, that's not what's going to happen. And for any of you guys out there watching, if you have AUD or you're an alcoholic or you're, addicted to a substance and, you've been having problems here lately, whatever those problems are, you can't pay your rent, you can't pay your electric bill, you can't afford to buy groceries for your family right now because everything's so expensive. Everything is expensive right now. I was just talking to a friend of mine yesterday that was talking about how expensive everything is. And, going to the store, it used to be like $1 for a roll of aluminum foil. Now it's $5 or something for a roll. I mean, just everything has gotten so, like I said, everything is just so expensive and things can be tough. And you might be dealing with that right now. Or maybe your vehicle's broken down and you can't afford to get it fixed. Or maybe you just got fired from your job. Or you're in the middle of dealing with relationship problems with your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend. Maybe you're having family problems. Maybe you're dealing with something with one of your children and they're giving you problems and maybe skipping school or they have really bad grades or maybe they're dabbling with substances or alcohol themselves and it's stressing you out. And in your mind you're thinking, I'll just run to the store. I'm so stressed out right now and I'm just going to run to the store, grab a small bottle just for today. It's going to make everything get better and then I'm not going to drink tomorrow. That's what I wanted to talk about today because it does not work out that way ever. You go to the store, you pick up that bottle, you get back home, you have that drink. Next thing you know, you've drank half the bottle. You are wasted drunk. You black out, you pass out, you wake up the next morning and what happens? You feel like garbage. And what's one of the best things for a hangover? Hair of the dog. And before you know it, you're right back in that vicious cycle. It's only day 2 and you're already waking up drinking in the morning again. It's absolutely horrible. Don't let the problems in your life push you back down that path again. Don't let any problem that's popped up today, tomorrow, yesterday, whenever it happens, don't let that lead you back to the bottle or lead you back to that substance or lead you back to the activity that you do to pull yourself out of those issues, to make yourself forget about it, to make yourself feel a little bit better. Alcohol is one of those things, and substances as well. You might feel good for just a little bit, but that's going to go away. It always does. And before you know it, you're right back at that place again where it doesn't matter how much alcohol you drink. It just makes you feel bad, and you're trying to chase that feeling, and you cannot get there. You know, you're waking up in the morning, forcing liquor down your throat, puking it right back up, doing it again, spending your whole entire day at work super hungover, wishing that you weren't alive because you feel so bad. All you're doing is looking at your watch and looking at the clock and waiting on it to be 5 o'clock so you can just get out of Dodge and get to the liquor store and buy another bottle and go home and have a drink to just feel a little bit better. You know, that constant thinking about drinking all day long when you're hungover. And, you know, I talk about this all the time, stopping by the gas station on the way in to work and getting your little $40 hangover kit. You know, you got to buy 3 Red Bulls and a bag of peanuts and some candy and a couple of Coca-Colas and a pack of smokes and a pack of Zen and a couple of packs of Goody Powder or a Mountain Dew, whatever it is, you know, some junk food or whatever, or a, you know, 6 o'clock in the morning sausage dog at the gas station because you didn't eat anything the day before and you feel sick and you just need something in your stomach. We've all been there. We've all done it. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. Do you really want to go back to that? The embarrassment of standing in line at 7 o'clock in the morning with a case or 2 cases of beer in your hand at the gas station, and everybody around you is getting coffee and energy drinks maybe and a donut and paying for their gas or whatever, and everybody's dressed for work, and here you are standing in line with 2 cases of beer in your hand, and then you walk up to the counter and get a couple packs of smokes and a bag of ice, and everybody knows what you're about to do for the rest of the day, which is just get wasted drunk and forget about all of your problems. Drinking or using is not the solution for whatever the problem is that you're dealing with right now. I can promise you it's not. All alcohol and substances do is create more problems. You know, unfortunately, we're not the type of people that have self-control. We're not the type of people that can go home on a Friday and have a glass of bourbon. You know, just get that out of your head. I know exactly what, you know, those thoughts, the fantasizing of, you know, I just want to get to the place where, you know, I can have that bottle of bourbon sitting on my desk and crystal, and there's 2 crystal rocks glasses upside down sitting there for whenever somebody comes in, and I'm just going to pour myself 2 fingers of bourbon on a Friday or, you know, after work or something like that, and that's all I'm going to do. You know, you think you want to get to that place, but it doesn't end up there. It never does. That fantasy of having that bottle of bourbon, you know, up on your desk and crystal, or, you know, sitting on a little table as soon as you walk in the door with the 2 rocks glasses or whatever, that's a fantasy. It's not going to happen. And you and I both know that if you go and do that, even if you did have the bourbon and crystal or whatever, you're going to polish that off so quick, you're never going to be able to keep it full. And that's the what we go through. We're not the type of people who can have a stocked bar in our house. I know I couldn't. I've gone to people's houses before and looked. I'm like, how do you have all this liquor laying around and you don't drink it? You know, 20, 30, 40, 100 bottles of liquor in their personal bar, and it's just sitting there, and they can walk right past it and not have a drink at all. I can't do that. If I had a bar like that, I probably wouldn't be alive. I would drink and drink and drink until the point where I wouldn't be able to drink anymore. I would drink myself unconscious, just the way I am. It's always one more. I'm just going to have one more. You know it's time for bed. You're already seeing cross-eyed. You've already thrown up 3 times at night because you didn't eat anything again. You're already wasted drunk, seeing double, slurring your words, bumping into stuff, but it's always one more. That was me every time. I need just one more drink, just one more, because I'm not drunk enough yet. I've got to take it just a little bit further. And then every day when I woke up the next morning, when my eyes opened, it was automatically, I was like, what did I do to myself last night? Just praying that it would go away and that I'd spend the whole entire day suffering. And like I said, today's video is about problems. Something that we all have in common. We all have problems. And it's all relevant to our lives, whatever our problems are. The thing is, you could have been born into a very wealthy family and, you just lost $100,000, and that's a big deal to you. But 20 grand's not. You could be, don't have a lot of money, and your car breaking down could be a very big situation. It could really screw things up for you. It's all relevant to our own lives, but they're all problems, and they're all big problems. Like I said, it's all relevant to how we've lived our lives, our experiences, and all that kind of stuff. What might be a big problem for one person might not be a huge problem for the next, but it's all problems, and it doesn't mean any less just because in your mind or my mind that it's not that big of a problem. To that person, it's huge. And like I said, going back to drinking or using, whatever that is, whatever you do, whatever you're trying to get away from, it's not going to fix the problem. It's not going to make the problem any better. Yeah, it might make you feel good for about an hour, but then you just created even more problems on top of the problem that you already had. Now you've got to deal with that problem, and it's going to be a long problem. This is going to go on. Unless you're able to stop yourself and, grab yourself and say, stop right now. And, you pick yourself back up the next day and don't drink. And then you're going through the whole withdrawal period again because you got drunk the day before. And it's a mess. It really, truly is. And I know for myself, especially when I was trying to get sober, I'm on day 3 or day 4 of trying to get sober. Back when I tried to quit at least 100 times. There were so many times I was trying to quit drinking. And I'd get to day 2, day 3, day 4, something like that, and then all of a sudden a problem came up. And it was like, ding, a light bulb went off in my head, and immediately I was like, I'm going to the store and getting a bottle. I can't deal with this anymore. I need to have a drink, and I have an excuse to drink. So when my wife came home that afternoon and found me passed out laying in the bed at 6:30, I had a problem today. The battery went dead in my Jeep. I had to charge it up, That was a big problem to me. Or, maybe my wife and I were arguing that morning because I got blackout drunk the night before. Or maybe she was still upset with me for something I had done the previous weekend. And then I, told her I promised I'll get sober now. And now here it is Wednesday, Thursday, and a problem came up. So now I got to go to the store and get another bottle because that's going to fix things. It's going to make things better. It doesn't fix a thing. It doesn't make anything better. Like I said, all it does is create more problems. It just stacks on top of the problem that you already have. And do you think that problem's going to get solved by going back and drinking or using again? Absolutely not, because in your mind, it's only going to be focused on drinking or using. Your whole entire day becomes that. That's all that you care about. First thing when you wake up in the morning, what are you thinking about when you're in the middle of active addiction? First thing in the morning, as soon as you open your eyes, well, at least I know for myself, the first thing I thought about was, where am I going to get my booze today? How much do I have left? I was already calculating and thinking about, okay, I've got a quarter of a bottle of vodka left over. That's going to be enough for me to, get my day started, but I don't have any money, and I can't use our debit card to go to the liquor store. So I'm already trying to plan some scheme to get a bottle. I'm already trying to think, what can I do? Can I borrow a couple dollars from somebody? Can I maybe, dig through the couch cushions and find some change? Is there something I can maybe put, list up on Marketplace and sell really quick to get enough money to drink for the rest of the week? It's just absolutely insane. And that would be the first thing that would cross my mind when I woke up in the morning. And then right after that, I was making myself a drink. Right after that, I made another drink, probably one more. Then I would go to work the whole day, break off at some point, and, come up with some lie because I needed to go get squash, or, I needed to go get soy sauce or something like that because I'm in the middle of making some recipe and I don't have what I need, which I'll tell you, it was a perfect excuse being a chef to be able to break off because I always had to go get stuff. And I'd run to the liquor store real quick and then go to the grocery store because I couldn't go walk in there without the product that I said that I needed. And, after I stopped in the liquor store, I'd sit in my vehicle and mix myself a drink because every time that I left to go get what I needed, I'd grab a cup of ice and a straw and put a little bit of Sprite in it because I just needed something to drink on the way, right? No, I needed something to mix my drink in while I took my little break from work. So right as soon as I walked out of the liquor store, I was going out to my vehicle, sitting in the parking lot of the liquor store, mixing a drink. It's making me nauseous even thinking about this, and I already don't feel good. But I'd sit in the parking lot and slam a basically straight cup of vodka, and then run in the grocery store, grab what I needed, go back to work, and pretend like everything was honky-dory when it wasn't. Just the amount of planning and stress and, just trying to find the money and just everything. Every single aspect of it. It creates so many problems in our lives. And like I said, I just wanted to talk about this today for any of you guys out there, which I'm sure that majority of you all have something going on in your life. You all have a problem. And it could be anything. Maybe you hate your job and you want to quit. Maybe your boss gave you a hard time today. Maybe one of your kids spoke back to you. Maybe one of your kids slammed the door as they got out of the car to go to school today and told you to screw off. Or, maybe you got a text message from your cell phone company and it says they went to, auto withdraw the money from your checking account and there wasn't enough in there and you're stressed out about it. Just going to the store and getting another bottle of liquor, is that going to make things better? Spending more money on something like that? And then you're going to wake up in the morning hungover, feeling like trash, no motivation, can't get anything done. It's all self-sabotage when we go back to the bottle or the substance when we have problems. It really, truly is self-sabotage because, like I said, it just creates more problems. And I think maybe for myself, I don't know, maybe I like that aspect of it because, the self-pity part of it. And I always had a great excuse to go back and buy more alcohol. I always had a good excuse to continue to drink, I don't know, maybe the problems were a positive in my life back then. When a negative thing happened, something happened wrong, a problem came up, I saw it as an opportunity. Which is just twisted to think about, that my mind, as soon as a problem came up, the first thing I thought about is, how am I going to solve this? Is, ding, here's an opportunity for me to drink. Here's an excuse for me to go to the liquor store and get a bottle and just tell my wife, we have this big problem. I've got to drink because of it. It's just like, I had just gotten out of the hospital. I had just had my TIPS procedure done, and I got home. I spent like 2 weeks in the hospital. And when I got home from having that done, which was a failed TIPS, I got home, and that day, the gas company came to deliver propane, and they backed the truck up across our front yard, and they crushed the septic lines, the drain lines for the septic tank when they went to deliver the propane. And that day, or the next day, my wife said, there's a bunch of water pulling up in the front yard. We had never had this problem before at all. And, I got up and, drug myself out there and looked, and there was a big puddle of water in the sewage out there in the front yard because the drain line was crushed and it was backing up. And it was seeping into the yard from that point right there. And, right in that moment, I had just had a TIPS procedure done, which was a failed TIPS. So I've already got these problems on my shoulders, and then I get home and the septic tank's messed up. First thing that goes through my mind after just getting back from the hospital was, I can run to the store and go get a half a gallon and not think about this anymore. I mean, that's just crazy thoughts. The insanity of this. Once again, guys, we all have problems, and we're going to continue to have problems. They're never going to go away. I don't care what you do, how prepared you are. It does not matter. I don't care if you change your oil, once a month. It doesn't even matter if it's gotten to 1,000 miles, and you do all the maintenance that you need to do to your vehicle, and you take care of yourself the best that you can, and only eat, the most organic, cleanest proteins and vegetables, and only drink triple filtered water and all these things. And next thing you know, you end up getting sick, and you're like, how did this happen? Stuff just happens. It's unfortunate, but it's life, and that's just the way life works. And if every single time that you have a problem pop up, if you go back to the bottle or you go back to using, you're going to be doing that every single day, every other day, because problems are always coming up. And if that's what you're looking for is a problem as an excuse to drink or use, you're always going to be able to find one. Trust me, I know, because that's the way that I used to work. There was always a problem. Finding problems was the easiest thing for me to do. And there was always an excuse when my wife got home as to why I was intoxicated, because there was a problem. Of course there was a problem. You know, I've gotten sober and I still have tons of problems all the time. The only difference from then to now is that I don't drink when I have problems. And the thing is that solving my problems now, being sober, is so much easier. You know, one of the first things I'm thinking about is, how can I solve this? What do I need to do to take care of this situation? Opposed to back then was, you know, it was basically a green card for me to drink as much as I want. I really didn't care about fixing the problem back then. And that's just the honest to God truth, guys. Because like I said, it was an excuse to continue to drink. It was an excuse to go back to the store and get more alcohol. Whatever problem that you're dealing with today, don't let it become an excuse to go back to drinking or using again. Just deal with the problem. You know, it's one of the things about sobriety, you know, is that, like I said, solving those problems becomes so much easier because you can think clearly. You're not wasting all of your money on alcohol, so you can't afford to fix the problems when they come up. To think that, you know, I was a chef, my wife was working at that time, and, you know, we should have been doing really well, and we weren't. You know, I was wasting all of my extra money, or our extra money, on drinking. It's just absolutely insane to think about. Don't let the problems in your life become an excuse to go back to drinking or using again. Don't let the problems in your life become an excuse to go to the liquor store or go see your dealer. Like I said, we all have problems. They're going to continue to come up. They're never going to go away. You got to find a way around them. And that's just the way it is. Do not let that become a reason to use again today. This really, truly is one day at a time. Like I said, first thing this morning, I was thinking about going to the liquor store and drinking, but I didn't. I stayed home. I didn't go anywhere. I just said, the heck with it. I'm going to deal with this. And I laid in the bed and I just fought the feelings off. And here it is, the afternoon. You know, I still don't feel well. And, you know, I still have that lingering thought in the back of my head. Like, you know, that hot toddy sure would make you feel a lot better right now. But that hot toddy would be all I needed to ruin every single thing I've worked so hard for. Because that one hot toddy, that one beer, that one glass of wine, that one shot, that one whatever it is, that one pill, that one puff, that one snort, that one whatever, it's going to open up the gates, and it's all going to start back all over again. Think about how hard it was for you to get to where you are right now. If you're sober watching this, and wherever you're at in your sobriety, day 3, day 7, day 14, day 30, 5 years sober, wherever you are in your sobriety journey, think back to when you got sober and how difficult that was. The sleepless nights, the waking up in the middle of the night soaked and drenched in sweat, puking and throwing up because you are so sick, your head's pounding, your blood pressure's through the roof. You can feel your blood pressure pounding in your ears because it's so high. How sick that you felt, no energy whatsoever. You know, you laid in the bed for 5 days straight until you finally were able to pull yourself up and go back to doing things again. Do you want to go through all that again? Because you are going to want to get sober again. That I can promise you. You're going to get sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, because that is the one thing that I can promise you, if you go back to drinking, is going to happen. You're going to feel like crap. You're going to feel sick. Alcohol is poison. And when we drink it, it makes us feel bad. You might feel good for just a little bit, but if you really think about it, what is it in alcohol that makes us feel good? Oh, it cuts off the oxygen to our brain. Oh, that's really great. there's a documentary, well, not a documentary, but a podcast, and I can't remember the guy's name. He's an English guy. He just did a documentary, or like I said, a podcast. I think it was yesterday or the day before that it came out, and it's all about alcohol. My wife sent it to me yesterday, and I haven't had an opportunity to watch it yet. I'm going to watch it or listen to it tonight or tomorrow morning, and I'm going to talk about that in tomorrow's video, because there's a lot of really good information in that video. I just watched like the preview for it, and man, she's really talking about some stuff. She was talking about, like a glass of wine. She was saying, like, this much wine in a glass increases your chances of the C word by like 20%. Just a little teeny glass of wine. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. It's a 3-hour-long podcast, so it's going to take me a while to listen to it. And like I said, I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. I will be sharing the link to that video in tomorrow's video as well, so be on the lookout for that. If you're interested, you can watch it. I can't remember the name of the podcast. You have to forgive me. I just can't remember off the top of my head right now. I've watched a couple of this guy's podcasts before. Real clean-cut guy. He always wears black. He's got a really short haircut. Real light-skinned guy. Very well spoken, but I just can't remember the name of his podcast. He's had a lot of really famous people on there, and like I said, I think she's a Harvard professor or doctor. I think she's a doctor, and she's just talking about all the harms of alcohol, and speaking about how dangerous alcohol really truly is, and how people don't realize how dangerous alcohol is to us. It's not this innocent product that we consume in social situations like we've been led to believe. Like I've been saying, alcohol is dangerous, highly addictive, and it's poisonous to our body. It's so destructive. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here for today and get back in the house. Like I said, I'm not feeling all that great. But, once again, whatever problem you're dealing with right now, don't go back. Just keep looking forward. Find a way to deal with the situation. If you can't solve the problem today, okay, then let's make a game plan. What are you going to do? Think about it tonight. Get a little piece of paper out. Start thinking about how you're going to attack this and solve that issue. Going back to drinking or using just because you're having an issue in your life, it's not the way to go. And there are, like I said, there's so many other things that we could be doing, like solving the situation, trying to find an action plan to figure out what we need to do to make it go away. Those problems are going to continue to come up. They're never going to stop. So if you drink or use every single time a problem comes up, like I used to, like I said, anytime I had a problem, I looked at it as a positive, because it was an excuse for me to go back to drink again. I don't look at them like that now, because I know that I can't drink and I've just got to deal with it, whatever it is. But, don't look at it like I used to. Whatever your problem is, there is a solution. It might not be able to be solved today, but you can start working on a way to fix it. Going back to drinking and using is not the solution to your issues. Why destroy your health, your life, your family relationships, potentially your job, spend up all your money, destroy your health just for a couple minutes of feeling good, a couple minutes of euphoria, if you even get that. It gets to a point when, like I've talked about this many times, but when I was in active addiction towards the end, I didn't even feel good anymore when I drank. The only reason I really drank was to not feel bad, just to make myself feel better. And it never worked either. Every time I drank, I just felt nauseous all day and puked all the time and had diarrhea, and my stomach always hurt, and I always had a headache. It didn't make me feel any better. I was just poisoning myself on top of already being poisoned. So guys, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and hop off here for today. Whatever problem that you're dealing with today, yesterday, tomorrow, whenever you're watching this, alcohol and substances are not the solution. Figure out a way to solve the problem. Don't go back to drinking, guys. It's truly not worth it. With that said, until tomorrow, I will see you guys then. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys so much. Bye-bye.